It's Wrestling Report, alongside my partner Ryan. I'm your host J-Man. On this edition of the IWR, we're going to do our 2012 TNA Lockdown review, just getting off the air with the pay-per-view. Really a solid night from action from TNA this time. Had some really high spots on this card, some stuff that can be forgotten about, but overall, you know, there's going to be some really things we're going to talk about out of this, and some special stuff that came out of this Lockdown card, and we're going to run it down for you. First matchup, we had the Lethal Lockdown match between Team Garett Bischoff and Team Eric Bischoff. If Garett's team won this match, Eric would be gone from TNA, and if Eric won this match, Garett's team would be gone from TNA.
Yeah. You know, the big thing I got out of this was solid. This was, you know, I like the fact that there wasn't a bunch of shenanigans, no Hogan run-ins, no other people run-ins. You know, they just played it, you know, like Lethal Lockdown. They did everything, you know. The majority of this was a Garett team beatdown. Garett Bischoff got his ass beat in this match. Does he earn my respect in terms of being officially allowed to be on the TNA roster? Yes. Does he earn my respect to be in a main event match or in a storyline feud? Absolutely not. But he does deserve to, I guess, be on the roster and learn, I think would be the best word to say. But he took some nasty spots in this and just got his ass beat. Some good spots throughout, but most of it was a heel beat down throughout. But I liked it. I was entertained. Had really good spots, and once the faces started catching up and doing, you know, some interesting stuff here, there wasn't any turns by either team, which I thought there might have been. But overall, I think I enjoyed this, and the way it finished, I think it made a lot of sense. They didn't overdo it with Eric Bischoff in there. They didn't try to make him do stupid things. But, you know, I thought I overall liked it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Really interesting to see this start the show. Not seeing this, you know, ever in lockdown history. Seeing the Lethal Lockdown start off the match, usually something we look forward to on a lockdown card. This one, yeah, like you said, it was pretty good. This one really had, you know, the feeling overall of just kind of really on both sides being really one-sided all the time. It never really felt like there was, you know, all the time where it was kind of just conjoined up together, where, like, you know, it was just a beat down all the way around. It was really like Eric's team was kicking ass or Garett's team was kicking ass and flip on us. And then it got to that part during the middle there where Garett just got his ass kicked. Like he said, it was just, he was taking his licks, man, and he was really, you know, it really had that kind of feeling of kind of earning, you know, your way towards the roster or something like that, with just the chops they had, the belt shots, the kendo sticks, everything. He got his ass whooped in this matchup, and like he said, I think, you know, he earned to the point to where at least he could be on the roster, but like I said, he's not going to be, you know, moving up anywhere fast by just getting his ass whooped. He's going to have to prove something out of that. But, you know, great to see the highlights stuff. AJ looking great in Lethal Lockdown as he usually does. Aries really looking good. Bully Ray looking strong. So they had some really, you know, interesting tidbits in this matchup. And like I said, the biggest, like, you know, Ryan said, the biggest thing was it wasn't shenanigan fest, you know, just loaded up here. It wasn't, you know, Hogan coming out and Bischoff doing a bunch of stupid shit. Bischoff was, for the most part, in the corner and really staying out a lot of the action, which was a really smart move, I think. And they just really did it, you know, just kind of run through the paces and really, you know, produced a pretty solid Lethal Lockdown match. Definitely not the best, not the worst, but it was at least there, and it made sense to what they were doing. And Garett Bischoff's team getting the win, and Eric now gone from TNA. Who knows what this will go on in the future, but obviously still pushing up Garett Bischoff to be looking like he's going to be doing something in TNA in the future. But pretty solid opener to the Lockdown card, and Garett Bischoff's team getting the win. Next matchup, we had the TNA Tag Titles line, one champion, Samoa Joe and Magnus. What do you like to call them?
These Samoan submission machines?
We just, you know, it's just one-sided. Like we said on a couple reviews ago, we were trying to think of a name. We couldn't think of shit, so.
The Samoan submission machines.
That's it.
At least they were like matching gear,
kind of
black and white, you know. Joe had to. Magnus never changes.
No,
but Joe
Mohawk looking like a hard ass. We had Joe and Magnus against the Motor City Machine Guns for the TNA Tag Titles. I was really looking forward to this one. Obviously, the Machine Guns' first pay-per-view match back from the return of Chris Sabin after all the injuries and stuff going on with that tag team. Great to see them back. And, you know, this produced a pretty solid matchup. Wasn't really, you know, anything great or anything outstanding or really worth talking about anything more than what it really was. But, you know, doing the kind of stuff there, the double teams that we saw with the Machine Guns, pretty solid stuff here, and really just produced, you know, just, you know, a pretty good little tag match here. And it looks like it's obviously probably could continue going into the future with Joe and Magnus getting the win here. I thought that my biggest thing is it's not that I don't think that Joe and Magnus should have the tag titles. I think it makes sense to build up a new team and, you know, gain some chemistry with them. I always hate when you have, you know, a really hot return of a team that, especially a team or just an individual that everybody loves and everybody's behind, and you have them go into, you know, the first kind of big match and you just have them lose. I just don't like how they do that sometimes, and it's just maybe the way that it worked out there. But obviously, Machine Guns are going to be hot going into the future because they always are in TNA, and everybody loves them, and hopefully they'll be really successful going into the future, and hopefully we see something end up out of this into a few, because I think they could really produce some great matches down the road. But Joe Magnus retaining the TNA tag titles.
Yeah, like I said, I think I would have expected a little bit more from this. They did good for what they did. Probably the best tag match all of this year by TNA. I really can't think of anything else that's been better. Yeah. Even though it was kind of just a solid, they did. I think they really tried towards the end to build toward the crowd to get real into it and get real hot. But for some reason, the crowd just wasn't buying it or something, or the spots weren't big enough or something like that. They did, the spots where you would see them later, they did double submissions, and they were doing double teams towards the end with a bunch of spots here and there. And
we kind of mentioned that throughout the entire night of the crowd's involvement.
The crowd involvement with the show, it was kind of dull. Like there was moments where they were really into things, and there was moments where they weren't. Yeah. I almost think that they thought that this match wasn't going to be second, and I almost think maybe the Lethal Lockdown might have killed the crowd a little bit.
Could've.
But yeah, I mean, this was solid. Both teams looked good here. Joe and Magnus are coming together, nicely here. I still hope I wish they would come up with a name. Yeah. Be matching gear.
We can't really say much, even though we haven't thought of shit in like 2 months. I guess they can't think of fucking anything either.
At least matching gear or some shit.
True, that's true. Yeah, they could do that. But Joe and Magnus retaining the tag titles. Interesting to see the tag division's future going down in the long run. Next matchup, we had the television title on the line. Devon came out, and then Robbie E came out, and then Devon won.
That ain't what happened.
I mean, it is,
All right, we can't lie to these people. That's what happened.
Yeah, Devon retained the TNA useless title. Television title, sorry. Shit, my bad. Forgot the name of that title for a minute there. Next matchup, we had the Knockouts title line. When champion Gail Kim went up against Velvet Sky.
Yeah, this was a good little women's match here. Velvet continues to improve. Yeah. They had Madison Rain out there, I guess, still with Gail Kim. I don't know why. I guess it. They're back.
They're BFFs again.
Yeah, they're just right here, bro. Just me and you. Just.
That's heart connecting, dude.
That's where it's at.
Oh God, friendship.
Feels good.
Touching moment.
Feels good to know that you're with friends. But like I said, this was pretty good here for what they did. Coming out at the finish here with this, I don't know. I was thinking Velvet really should have won here. Maybe they're going to do a feud a little bit longer. I really don't know. Maybe they're just all about just the Gail, just boner, just stroking the Gail boner, and basically F you and WWE still. I
think Quaddy called that. Gail Kim train rolling down the tracks.
Still continue with her little run here. So, but like I said, interesting to see what they did here. I don't know. I really think they should put it on Velvet, but
yeah, as I was saying in the preview, I really thought this was just so set up for Velvet to really win this. It really just seemed like they built it up the right way to have it to where Velvet was going to win, this championship here in the cage. But really, just continuing with the Gail run and really just solidifying herself as it is what it is. She's the greatest Knockouts champion of all time. She was the first, and she just is. She's just had, great runs here and there, and just continuing with this great run here. And just continuing another win after a win after a win. It's almost turning into almost like Bobby Roode style run, where you just kind of think like, I could have dropped it there, I could have dropped it there, but just continuing with the run here. And Gail retaining the title yet again. As I said, I thought it would have made a lot of sense to put it on Velvet, but we're not losing anything by keeping it on Gail. And I hope they do end up doing a feud out of this with Velvet and Gail. I think it would be some really good stuff. And like you said, I think Velvet just continues to get better. Every time she's in the ring, she just continues to progress, and I think that can only continue being in there with Gail. But Gail Kim retaining the Knockouts title in pretty interesting little Knockouts match that's at least something better than we've seen in the past. Next matchup, we had the match between former boyfriends, best friends. These guys are blood brothers, man. These guys softball, camping, whatever they want to do. They did it. Not anymore.
What was he called him? A redheaded bitch, man.
He did. He's going to make him.
Someone must have stole Matt Morgan's graham crackers when they were asleep in the tent.
That's right.
And he thinks it's Crimson.
Yeah.
Crimson.
He may have got upset about his tattoo job. The new tattoos.
Just the M's on his arms.
The M's on his arms. What it is, what it is.
But
we had Crimson and Matt Morgan here. This is exactly what I really thought it was. These guys getting in there just ultra hard-assing it up, just Crimson coming out. I really, for a second, I thought he was like just a hardcore like rapper when he came out. Like he just acting like a hard ass.
I saw it.
Just the undefeated.
The undefeated.
That's his nickname. It said it in his name. The undefeated Crimson.
They're definitely going to play off the fact that, you know, he's undefeated, but the fact that Crimson got out of the cage, he didn't get pinned.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we will probably have to continue to see this feud go here. These guys, just the hatred for these two guys is just, it's right there. It's knuckle to knuckle, and you know, they're not going to be no more float trips. No more, you know, none of that.
Co-ed
stuff.
softball, we're done.
None of it. None of it.
We're done.
Beer league,
Mini golf outings.
Yeah,
no more.
It's gone. So we've come to the conclusion that you know, one or both are going to eventually have to have a new boyfriend.
They are.
Could it be Garett Bischoff?
Could it?
I mean, he has nothing to do now that he's gone. Garett,
you know, it would really.
Gone.
It would, you know, it would fill Matt Morgan's need for a bitch. It really would.
It would.
You know, he's a smaller guy. He fit that bitch mode, dude.
Bitch mode.
That's right. We're creating new words in the IWR.
Hashtag bitch mode.
If it's not trending on Twitter, we've already tried that. It doesn't trend.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't. We tried it with Dick Spear. That didn't work at all. That didn't work.
Casual Carino.
None of it'll work, but it's all right. Crimson getting the win in that matchup, climbing out of the cage with his hard-ass self. Death for dishonor. That's right. Oh, God. Just shitting all over that. It's hilarious. Next matchup, we will not be shitting on this. We had Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy.
How is it possible Kurt Angle... Wait, never mind. Kurt Angle was Olympic gold medalist. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was going to say, how is it possible that Kurt Angle can have quite possibly the second best match on the show if it wasn't for the main event?
Yeah.
The best match on the show with a torn MCL, ACL, and with Jeff Hardy, who is kind of not that great of a worker.
Exactly.
He works when people make him work, and he gets his ass beat good.
Yep.
Angle is a mother freaking wrestling god. I mean, what can you say? The guy's he's in his 40s. I mean, It's just ridiculous. He's just one of those guys that just is all about what he can do in the ring, and this is performing, and this is just, you know, Angle at his best. You know, when he knows he's hurt, he knows he has to show up. Yep. They didn't try to do some ridiculous spots where they knew they were going to botch. There was no botches in this. Everything was clean.
Yep.
There was an interesting spot with Jeff where he did like a back splat, like a splat. I don't know.
Yeah, like inward kind of thing.
Like an inward splash. I don't know. But overall, I mean, this was good. I liked this, and I thought this was better than their match last month. And I know if this is going to be Angle's last match for a while, if he's hurt, I think he went out pretty good here for a while. And this is definitely what I expected. I didn't think it was going to be amazing because I thought they were going to let the main event be, you know, special. Yeah. But this definitely did what it was supposed to, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
you know, as I said in the preview, I really thought this could be really something special. Just as he said, it's just Kurt Angle, when he's against the wall, he performs. It just is what it is. He's out there 100%, 50%, whatever the hell you're going to get out of Kurt Angle is what you're going to get. It's the same thing every time. It's just that amazing performer who just strives to be the best. It's just how he is. And being in there with Jeff Hardy, like we've always said, Jeff Hardy needs to be in there with a guy who could make him work, as we always say. And, you know, and like he said, you know, who gets his ass kicked. And Kurt Angle is, you know, one of the best giving out an ass kickings that you could possibly give. And Jeff Hardy takes it all the way and kind of has his little comeback moments that he has. We saw the, you know, like 2 swantons back to back, and then we saw the one off the top that finally ended it. We saw the, you know, Angle slam off the top. There was some great stuff, interesting stuff with the ankle locks kind of transition. So, I mean, this just really produced a really solid cage match, and you know, for Lockdown, and I really, you know, really got out of it kind of what I thought I was going to get out of it, which is just a really solid match between two guys that really wanted to go out there and put something on. And I'm really, I got to give my props to Jeff Hardy for right now. He's really stepping up and really, you know, producing. Whether, you know, he has to be in there with a Kurt Angle, we were saying that, but I mean, you know, he's going out there and he's, you know, putting in work and really putting on some solid efforts to, you know, to the point where he's trying to prove, almost feeling like he's trying to prove some people wrong to where he couldn't come back in there after all the crap that happened last year and come in and do some, you know, good stuff. And he really, you know, went in there with Kurt Angle and produced a really solid cage match. And Jeff Hardy getting the win after that big swanton in a pretty really solid matchup here on Lockdown. Next matchup, we had the Knockouts tag titles on the line. Win champions Eric Young and ODB went up against Sarita and Rosita. Obviously, this impromptu kind of, you know, calm the crowd down before the main event. It is what it is. They just added it and threw it on here. Biggest thing I got out of it, and I'm sure he got out of it, is just the seduction of Sarita and Rosita, dude. That's all I get out of it. Because that was some great stuff. Just
tits grande.
I don't, it might be a word.
Pendejo grande.
I don't even know what that means.
Pendejo means asshole in Spanish.
That's where it's at. Right?
That's a big asshole.
That's probably trending on Twitter right now.
Pendejo asshole. Or I don't know. Pendejo grande.
Eric Young and ODB retained.
No tight butthole.
No, not really. But Eric Young and ODB still your Knockouts tag champions. You want to say anything about that, or just? I already covered the Sarita and Rosita. We had to get your love out there for them.
Just grande,
dude.
Just in my pants right now, grande.
Speaking of some grande, we went on to the main event here for the TNA World Championship. We had champion Bobby Roode going up against James Storm. I don't know how many times I got to tell you guys how much I was really looking forward to this match. And in all actuality, outside of the outcome, which I really did not see and really didn't think that they were going to end up doing, but this really produced a great matchup. These guys went out there and just proved that they are what they are, which is legit main eventers. And it was just some great stuff. And like I made the mention in a preview about the kind of NWA, kind of old school cage match feel, we really got that out of this. The kind of just grueling, just brutal kind of stuff in there. These guys were like bleeding within the first 5 minutes. I know James Storm was in the first 3 minutes, and then Bobby finally was too, and he was really busted open pretty good. So that obviously added to it, telling the story that it does. That's what kind of adding that color to the match really does, and it did it here. But having the end of this match where it's set up to where Bobby was against the cage, and I was telling him, I'm like, man, they're gonna have him super kick him through the damn cage, and he's gonna retain the title. And they had James Storm super kick Bobby Roode through the cage and have him retain the championship. Just continuing along with this kind of cheapish way of getting wins for Bobby and retaining the title. And again, as we saw Bound for Glory, and now we saw here yet again, TNA just not producing what looked like inevitable. It looked like this was going to be the best setup that they've done for so long, to have that kind of really glorious and kind of big moment for a guy to win a championship, and in his hometown, like we said, for James Storm, and not getting the win there, and just having the lasting image of Bobby Roode laying back first on the concrete with the world title on his chest as still your TNA World Champion. Obviously, this is going to continue, and I really hope it does, because this obviously will continue to produce great stuff with these guys, because it is what it is, like we say a million times. But very interesting outcome. I wanted James Storm to win this title because I thought it made a lot of sense. I love Bobby Roode too. Well, both these guys, and either way, it's going to be great to see what happens there. But I just thought it made so much sense just to give James Storm the title here and have him run on with that. But I mean, he'll probably get it in the long run. But here, and what seemed inevitable, it was not. And Bobby Roode's still your TNA World Champion.
Yeah, what I find interesting is, I think as time goes on with wrestling, it evolves, things evolve. And the way TNA runs some of their booking ideas and storylines, they still run their storylines like it's 1980s, like the 1980s. Like, you have to have the heel lose cheaply and get all this heat, or win cheaply and get all this heat. Why can't Roode ever get a clean win ever? Why couldn't The Miz ever get a clean win ever?
Yeah.
Why can't, you don't want to put him over this guy because he's too big, and then that guy looks like shit, and then things have just evolved in wrestling where you don't always have to have that. You could have had Storm, win here clean and continue the feud, or you could have had Roode win here clean.
Yeah.
And
it would have made sense, because this would have finally been Roode's first clean win, which we mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah. Let's get some legitimacy on these pay-per-views instead of having Roode win matches on TV and shit clean. You want him to win at Lockdown or your big pay-per-views, arguably considered Lockdown as one of your biggest big four pay-per-views for TNA. Granted, they produced. I think they produced compared to the shows they've done, but the booking decisions sometimes are so old school. Like, they don't ever want to evolve into the.
And it seems like they never want to have an end to anything. They always want to keep rolling on and keep continuing a thing. Like, it's almost like we just have a never-ending train of something that will never seem to have a halt and have a finish. Shit, we might turn around this coming week and have fucking James Storm win the world title on Impact.
Yeah,
it's like what we saw in Bound for Glory. It's just like they're sometimes just completely ass backwards as their booking decisions sometimes, where they just need to have a point where they stop and realize that, okay, this is one of the best builds that we've had in a really long time, and have almost blindly set this up so brilliantly, and just needed to kind of ending to this. And not saying that they could have continued a feud, because I think they could have, but had an ending to at least the continuation of the plotting of this feud, and had it to where James Storm could have won the title here. Would have made a lot of sense, but it's not what we got. Bobby Roode's still your world champion. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the future, but pretty solid night of action from TNA this time. Hopefully we can continue that kind of trend going into the future. This will now wrap up our 2012 TNA Lockdown review. For my partner Ryan, I'm your host J-Man. Thank you for watching another edition of the Instant Wrestling Report, your source for wrestling news, information, opinions, and instantly.
This is a battleground!